The hunter drew her dagger and found she grasped a flower. She reached for an arrow, but her quiver held only leaves. Tales of the Fae. Hello everyone, my name's Elspeth. Welcome to the Planeswalker Pantheon. Today, we are opening up a box of set boosters from the latest Magic the Gathering set, Wilds of Eldraine. Let's go to the wild, shall we? So we'll just... Oh, that was nice and smooth. I always appreciate a good smooth plastic cut. Alright. You don't need to see the box. You know where I'm getting these packs from. Of course, there's our beautiful Sir Ginger. And our wonderful set boosters. Alright. Oh, that felt good. Oh, we're already starting off with something from the list. Sun-Touched Mirror, 3 mana for a 0/0 artifact creature mirror with Sunburst. Cool. Foil Torch the Tower. We have a Grasp of Fate as our Enchanting Tales card. So 1/2 white enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, for each opponent, exile up to 1 target non-land permanent that player controls until it leaves the battlefield. Hilda's Crown of Winter, 3 mana for a legendary artifact, 1 and tap target creature. It costs 1 less to activate during your turn. 3 mana and sacrifice the crown. Draw a card for each tapped creature your opponents control. And then we'll flick through the rest of these, unless there's something really interesting that really catches our eye. Of course, there is that beautiful full art forest. And our art card of Rowan. Yeah, I think I'm good with that spacing for now. Next one up. Geez, more hits from the list, and from original Eldraine, Stonecall Serpent, standard all-star Stonecall Serpent. X mana for an artifact creature snake, 0/0, reach, trample, protection from multicolored, enters the battlefield with X+1/+1 counters on it. Oh, we have a foil elusive otter. So for a single blue, you get a creature otter. You can cast its Adventure of Grove's Bounty for X and a Grim to distribute X+1/+1 counters among any number of target creatures you control. The creature itself has prowess, and creatures with power less than the otter's power can't block it. Our enchanting tale is Compulsion. 1 in a blue enchantment, 1 in a blue to discard a card to draw a card, or 1 in a blue to sacrifice the Compulsion to draw a card. We have our first mythic. It's Virtue of Courage. 3 and 2 red for an enchantment. You can cast it for its Adventure of Embereth Blaze for 1 and a red to have it deal 2 damage to any target. And whenever a source you control deals non-combat damage to an opponent, you may exile that many cards from the top of your library. You may play those cards this turn. And we will flick through the rest. Beautiful Islander. Let me fix that middle pile up. And we have Agatha. Agatha's Champion, my apologies, as our art card. These art cards give me a lot of joy. On a personal level. We have a food for Baronauti. Ooh, we have a Blood Moon, 2 and a red for an enchantment. Non-basic lands are mountains. We have a Dark Tutelage as well. 2 and a black for an enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, reveal the top card of your library and put that card into your hand. You lose life equal to its mana value. And we have a Food Fight. 1 and a red for an enchantment. Artifacts control of 2 sacrifices artifact. It deals damage to any target equal to 1 plus the number of opponents named Food Fight you control. And we will flick through the rest of these. Our beautiful Swamp. And an Eerie Interlude. Oh, Eerie Interference, my apologies. There are over 20,000 cards in Magic, and I lose track. It happens. We have a little game card. We have a foil Troyan Gutsy Explorer. Oh, we have Greater Oromancy. Actually, kind of ironic, because that was actually the little bit of flavor text that I read. 1 and a white for enchantment. Other enchantments you control have Shroud. Enchanted creatures you control have Shroud. So it was actually kind of appropriate. We have Apprentice's Folly. 2 blue and a red for a enchantment saga. For the first 2 chapters, choose target non-token creature you control that doesn't have the same name as a token you control. Create a token that's a copy of it, except it isn't legendary. It is a reflection in addition to its other types, and it has haste. And for the 3rd chapter, sacrifice all reflections you control. And we will flick through our uncommons right here. Verdant Outrider as our art card. Next one up. We have our On an Adventure marker. Foil Ferocious Werefox. We have a Utopia Sprawl, 1 green for enchantment aura, Enchanted Forest. When enters the battlefield, you choose a colour. Whenever Enchanted Forest is tapped for mana, its controller adds an additional 1 mana of the chosen colour. We have a Decadent Dragon, 2 and 2 red for a creature dragon. You can cast for its adventure side for 2 and a black. As an instant, exile the top 2 cards of target opponent's library face down. You may look at and play those cards for as long as they remain exiled. It then becomes a 4/4 flying and trample, and when it attacks you, create a treasure. We have, a foil Virtue of Courage. We won't read it again, but this is the adventure frame for it. Cool. And we will flick through the rest of these. Ooh, pretty foil island there. And Into the Fake Court as our art card. Next one up. Not quite as exciting as our previous list cards, but Interplanar Beacon from War of the Spark. Whenever you cast a Planeswalker spell, you gain a life. Tap to add a colourless, and 1 and tap to add 2 mana of different colours. Spend this mana to only cast Planeswalker spells. We have a foil Embereth Veteran. We have Intangible Virtue, 1 and a white for an enchantment. Creature tokens you control get +1/+1 and have vigilance. We have a Gumdrop Poisoner. For 2 and a black, you get a creature human warlock. You can cast its adventure for a single black as an instant to create a food token. It's a 3/2 with lifelink, and when it enters the battlefield, up to 1 target creature gets -X/-X until end of turn, where X is the amount of life you gained this turn. We have Greta, and we'll flick through the rest of these actually. And our art, we've got a pretty full art island, and our art card is the Iron Crag. Next one up. We have a token, elemental specifically, a foil Toadstool Admirer, and we have another Dark Tutelage, and we have another mythic, Realm Scorcher Hellkite, 4 and 2 red for a creature. It's a 4/6 dragon with bargain, flying, and haste. When it enters the battlefield, if it was bargained, add 4 mana in any combination of colours, and for 1 and a red, it deals 1 damage to any target. And we will flick through the rest of these. A beautiful plains. And, it's the Beast token. I think I might be wrong in remembering this. I think it's the first time a token artwork is actually made to the art cards. I'll have to check my personal list, but I think it's the first. It's a first. Anyway. We have our roll token for Wicked and Cursed. Foil Troublemaker Oof. Oh, we have an anime as foretold. That's really nice. 2 and a blue for an enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a time counter on as foretold. Once each turn, you may pay 0 rather than pay the mana cost for a spell you cast with mana value X or less, where X is the number of time counters on as foretold. Oh, they're kind of like etched. They're kind of like matte finished on the back. which is a little strange. Bramble Familiar, 1 and a green for a creature, elemental raccoon, adorable. You can cast its adventure, fetch quest for 5 and 2 green. Mill 7 cards and put a creature enchantment or land card from among the milled cards onto the battlefield. Otherwise, you can cast it as a creature, as a 2/2, tap green, and 1 and a green to discard a card, return it to its owner's hand. And our uncommons. Another gorgeous island. And our art card is Ego Drain. Next one up. Ooh, a card from the list. It's Fallen Ideal. 2 and a black for an enchantment aura. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature is flying and sacrifice a creature. This creature gets +2/+1 until end of turn. When Fallen Ideal is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, return it to its owner's hand. So it gives your creature a Fallen Angel effect, basically. Stormkeld Vanguard in foil. And we have Griffin Airy, 1 and a white for an enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, if you gain 3 or more life this turn, create a 2/2 white Griffin creature token with flying. Devouring Sugarmaw, 2 and 2 black for a creature horror with menace and trample. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may sacrifice an artifact, enchantment, or token. If you don't, tap the Sugarmaw. Or you can cast its adventure, have for dinner for 1 and a white, and it's an instant. Create a 1/1 white human creature token and a food token. And our uncommons. And our commons. Beautiful Fall Swamp. And Beanstalk Worm as our art card. Next one up. Speaking of food, there's a lovely food token right there. Oh, we have a foil Intangible Virtue. And a Season of Growth, 1 and a green for enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, a creature enters the battlefield under your control, scry 1. Whenever you cast a spell that targets a creature you control, draw a card. We have Extraordinary Journey for 2x and blue, get an enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, exile up to X target creatures. For each of those cards, its owner may play it for as long as it remains exiled. Whenever 1 or more non-token creatures enter the battlefield, if 1 or more of them entered from exile or was cast from exile, you draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. Oh, we got Brennan Ginger Sculptor. 1 white, green, and blue for a legendary creature, Human Artificer. It's a 3/3. Each creature you control that is a food or a golem gets +2/+2 and has trample. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, you may exile it. If you do, create a token that's a copy of that creature, except it's a 1/1 food golem artifact creature in addition to its other types. It has 2 untap to sacrifice this artifact. You gain 3 life. And we have our uncommons. So I'm actually pretty happy to get that Bernard, actually. Ooh, we have a foil Full Art Mountain. And a Primal Vigor. Very nice. I like these Enchanted Tales artworks, actually. Both the anime style and the sort of the more traditional, so to speak, artwork. Gorgeous Night Token. Foil Moment of Valor. We have Impact Tremors, 1 and a red for an enchantment. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, Impact Tremors deals 1 damage to each opponent. Archon of the Wild Rose, 2 and 2 white for a creature, Archon 4/4 with flying. Other creatures you control that are enchanted by auras you control have base power and toughness 4/4 and have flying. And we will flick through the rest. We have a foil... Actually, no, it's a normal mountain. And Brave the Wilds as our art card. I won't lie, I do miss the days when all the art cards were just one orientation. It's going to make framing these really hard. Ah, another card from the list. P and Kieran Nala, or as I like to call him, the Mum and Pop Thopter Shop. 2 and 2 red legendary creature, Human Artificer. It's a 2/2. When they enter the battlefield, put 2 1/1 colors Thopter artifact creature tokens with flying onto the battlefield. 2 and a red, sacrifice an artifact. P and Kieran Nala deal 2 damage to target creature or player. Rhyme for Reindeer as a foil. And we have a Grave Pact, 1 and triple black for an enchantment. Whenever a creature you control dies, each other player sacrifices a creature. We have a Garruk's Uprising, 2 and a green for an enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, draw a card. Creatures you control have trample, and whenever a creature with power 4 or greater enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. Ooh, this is a nice one. We have Beseech the Mirror, 1 and triple black for a sorcery with Bargain. Search your library for a card, exile it face down, then shuffle. If the spell was Bargain, may cast the exiled card without paying its mana cost if that spell's mana value is 4 or less. Put the exiled card into your hand if it wasn't cast this way. And we will flick through the rest of these. Ooh, foily full art swamp. And we have Karmic Justice. This is actually the anime artwork for Karmic Justice, which I'd actually already opened in my draft box opening. If you haven't already watched that, which I do recommend if you haven't. Got a rat. Oh, we have a foil Decadent Dragon in the cool storybook artwork. We won't read it because we've already read this before, but my gosh, this artwork is beautiful. We have an Oversold Cemetery, 1 and a black for an enchantment. The beginning of your upkeep, if you have 4 or more creature cards in your graveyard, you may return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. The end. I still haven't opened this card as the last rare for my packs yet. I hope it happens at least once. 2 and 2 black for an instant. It costs 2 less to cast if your life total is 5 or less. Exile target creature or planeswalker. Search its controller's graveyard, hand, and library for any number of cards with the same name as that permanent and exile them. That player shuffles, then draws a card for each card exiled from their hand this way. And we'll flick through the rest of these beautiful things. Foily Normal Mountain. And Imodain as our art card. I'll fix up that middle pile because I know that I felt that get messed up. Next one up. We have another fun little game card. A foil glass casket. Nice to see this get a reprint. We have Stab Wounds, 2 and a black for an enchantment aura. Enchanted creature gets -2/-2. At the beginning of the upkeep of the enchanted creature's controller, that player loses 2 life. Regal Bunnycorn, look at this cute little baby bunny, y'all. So for 1 and a white, it's a creature, rabbit, unicorn. Its power and toughness are each equal to the number of non-land permanents you control. This bunny gets real big, real quick. Ooh, we also have Twinning Twins. So for 2 and 2 blue creature, fairy wizard's a 4/4 with flying vigilance and ward 1. Can cast it for its adventure, a swift spiral for 1 and a white. Exile target non-token creature, return to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. That's a really nice piece of artwork. Elena Dano is actually becoming one of my other favourite Magic artists. We have Stroke of Midnight, and we'll flick through the rest of these. You don't need to know. Beautiful full art swamp. And Prophetic Prism as our art card. Next one up. I won't lie, I do like this painted sort of art style for the human tokens in the set. We have a foil Become Brutes. And we have Aggravated Assault, 2 and a red for an enchantment, 3 and 2 red. Untap all creatures you control. If it's a main phase, there is an additional combat phase, followed by an additional main phase. Activate only as a sorcery. Yeah, Imodain the Pyrohammer, 2 and 2 red, legendary creature, human knight. It's a 4/4. Whenever an instant or sorcery spell you control that targets only a single creature deals damage to that creature, it deals that much damage to each opponent. And we will flick through the rest of these. Beautiful planes. And Shatter the Oath as our art card. No signed art cards yet, but we'll get there eventually. Next one up. We have our Wicked and our Cursed rolls. Foil Harried Spearguard, Ooh, we have Forced Fruition. 4 and 2 blue for an enchantment. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, that player draws 7 cards. And, ooh, Mana Flare. 2 and a red for an enchantment. Whenever the player taps a land for a mana, that player adds 1 mana of any type that land produced. Spectre of Mortality. 3 and 2 black for a creature. Spectre, 3/3 and flying. When it enters the battlefield, you may exile 1 or more creature cards from your graveyard. When you do, each other creature gets -X until end of turn, where X is the number of cards exiled this way. Very nice. Beautiful Foil Forest by Adam Paquette. Elusive Otter as our art card. Next one up. Ooh, this is a good list card. We got Gave Guru of Spores. 2 black, green, and white for legendary creature Fungus Shaman. It's a 0/0. Enters the battlefield with 5 +1/+1 counters on it. 1, remove a +1/+1 counter from a creature you control. Create a 1/1 green sapling. And 1, sacrifice a creature. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Oh, this is real pretty. That's a Ristic Study, y'all. 2 and a blue for an enchantment. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, you may draw a card unless that player pays 1. And we have a Curiosity as well. Single blue for an enchantment aura. Enchant creature. Whenever enchanted creature deals damage to an opponent, you may draw a card. We have a Pollen Shield Hare. For 1 and a white, you get a creature rabbit. It's a 2/2. Creature tokens you control get +1/+1, or you can cast its adventure, Hair Raising. It's a sorcery. Target creature you control gains vigilance and gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of creatures you control. Ooh, we got Relentless Fortress in the full art. It's a land that enters the battlefield tapped. Tap to add white or black. For 2 white and black, it becomes a 1/4 white and black nightmare creature until end of turn. It's still a land, and when it attacks, defending player loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. And we'll skip through the rest. Foil Ristic Study. Wow. Pretty land. And Spiteful Hexmage. Ah, there's our signed card. So I knew we were going to call it out eventually. Next one up. Got a treasure. Foil Scarecrow Guide. We have Hardened Scales, single green for an enchantment. If 1 or more +1/+1 counters will be put onto a creature you control, that many +1/+1 counters are put on it instead. Werefox Bodyguard for 1 and 2 white creature, Elf Fox Knight. That's a heck of a lot of creature types. 2/2 with flash. When it enters the battlefield, exile up to 1 other target non-fox creature until Werefox Bodyguard leaves the battlefield. 1 and a white, sacrifice the bodyguard, you gain 2 life. And we will flick through the rest of these. Got a nice Plains and a Kindred Discovery as our art card. Next one up. Oh, this is the first time I've seen the bird tokens for this set, actually. Foil Spell Stutter. We have a Vampiric Rites, 1 black and enchantment, 1 and a black, sacrifice a creature, you gain 1 life and draw a card. We have a Restless Spire. It's the blue-red land of the set. All these lands enter the battlefield tapped for 1 of either its colors, and then it has an activated ability to become a creature. In this case, for a blue and a red, it becomes a 2/1 blue and red elemental with, as long as it's your turn, it has first strike, and it's still a land. And when it attacks, scry 1. Oh, we have the Throne of Eldraine, 5 mana for a legendary artifact. When it enters the battlefield, you choose a color, add 4 mana of the chosen color, spend this mana to only cast monocolored spells of that color. 3 and tap to draw 2 cards, spend this mana of the chosen color to activate this ability only. Spend only mana of the chosen color to activate this ability. So it's really good for your monocolored commander decks. And we'll flick through the rest of these. Another Great Forest. Sky-based Tracker. Oh, that's also signed as well. Lovely to see that. Now we're getting all of our signed art cards. Next one up. Ah, there's that beautiful beast. Succumb to the Cold in foil. We have a Griffin Airy as our Chanting Tales. And we have the Saga of Three Blind Mice. 2 and a white for an enchantment saga. Chapter 1, create a 1/1 white mouse creature token. Chapters 2 and 3 to create a token that's a copy of target token you control. And Chapter 4, creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain vigilance until end of turn. And we will flick through the rest. Have our mountain. And Ariete of the Charmed Apple. That's cool. That's a nice alternate artwork, actually. Next one up. Our On an Adventure marker. Foil Knight of Doves. We have Primal Vigor, 4 and a green. It's an enchantment. If one or more tokens would be created, create twice that many of those tokens are created instead. If one or more +1/+1 counters would be put onto a creature, twice that many +1/+1 counters are put onto that creature instead. We have Agatha's Soul Cauldron, so for 2 mana, it's a legendary artifact. You may spend mana as though it were mana of any card to activate the abilities of creatures you control. Creatures you control with +1/+1 counters on them have all activated abilities of all creature cards exiled with Agatha's Soul Cauldron. Tap to exile a target card from a graveyard. When a creature card is exiled this way, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. And we will flick through the rest of this. Sorry, I still can't get used to the fact that Disdainful Stroke is an uncommon. We have a Swamp and a Scalding Viper as our art card. Next one up. Ooh, this is a big enchantment. Eldrazi Conscription. 8 mana tribal enchantment, Eldrazi Aura. Enchanted creature gets +10/+10 and has Trample and Annihilator 2. If the +10/+10 and Trample isn't Keely, the Annihilator 2 will. Foil Fairy Fencing. We have a Hatching Plans, 1 and a blue for an enchantment. When it's put into the graveyard from the battlefield, draw 3 cards. And we have the Goose Mother. Honk! 4x green and blue. Legendary creature Bird Hydra. It's a 2/2 with flying. When it enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. When it enters the battlefield, you create half X food tokens rounded up. And when it attacks, you may sacrifice a food to draw a card. Ooh, we have Heartflame Duelist in the alternate frame. 1 and a white for a creature human knight. Instant sorcery spells you control have lifelink, and it's a 3/1. Or you can cast it for its adventure for 2 and a red. It deals 3 damage to any target. And we can flick through the rest. Beautiful Swamp. And Karmic Justice as our art card. Next one up. Got another little game to play. We have a foil Candy Trail. And we have a Stab Wound. Feral Encounter, 2 green for a sorcery. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may exile a creature card from among them. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. You may cast the exiled card this turn. At the beginning of the next combat phase this turn, target creature you control deals damage to its power deals damage equal to its power to up to 1 target creature you don't control. We have the Court of Ardenvale, 2 and 2 white for an enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, you become the monarch. At the beginning of your upkeep, return target permanent card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to your hand. If you're the monarch, return that permanent card to the battlefield instead. Got our uncommons. I already bought my copies for my commander deck. Pretty full out Swamp. And Will, Scion of Peace as our art card. Next one up. Got our game. Stockpiling Celebrant. We have Ground Seal, 1 and a green for enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. Cards in graveyards can't be the target of spells or abilities. We also have Dragon Mantle, 1 red for an enchant creature. When it enters the battlefield, you draw a card. Enchanted creature gets red. This creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Farsight Ritual, 2 and 2 blue for an instant with Bargain. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. If this spell was Bargain, look at the top 8 cards of your library instead. Put 2 of them into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Alright, and the rest. The Forest. And Defense of the Heart. Oh, it's the anime artwork too. That's real pretty. It kind of looks like a little bit out of Fire Emblem, a little bit. This artwork. For these anime style art cards are done by the individual who does the artwork for Fire Emblem. I'm gonna feel really stupid about making that saying that sentence. Got a rat. Royal Treatment. Ooh, and we have a Spreading Seas, 1 and a blue for an enchantment aura. Enchant land. When it enters the battlefield, you draw a card. Enchanted land is an island. That's it. We have a Knightly Valor, 4 and a white for an enchantment aura. Enchant creature. When it enters the battlefield, you create a 2/2 white knight with vigilance, and the enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and has vigilance. We have the Restless Bivouac. It's the red-white land, so it taps to add red or white. 1 red and white, it becomes a 2/2 white and red ox until end of turn. It's still a land, and when it attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. And we will flick through the rest. Got a beautiful Fallout Forest. And the Swarm Piper as our card. Next one up. We have a food with an eyeball, it's fine. Eridi's Tempting Apple. Oh, we have Leyline of Sanctity, 2 and 2 white for an enchantment. If it's in your opening hand, you may begin the game with it on the battlefield. You yourself have hexproof. We have Godric Cloaked Reveler, 1 and 2 red for a legendary creature human noble. It's a 3/3 with haste. As long as 2 or more non-land permanents enter the battlefield under your control this turn, Godric Cloaked Reveler is a dragon with base power and toughness 4/4 and 4/4, flying and red. Dragons you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. I flick through the rest of these. Pretty full art planes. And Witch's Mark as our art card. Next one up. Some more rolls, that's always handy. Foil Merry Bards. And we have a Raid Bombardment. 2 and a red for an enchantment. Whenever a creature you control with power 2 or less attacks, it deals 1 damage to the player or planeswalker that creature is attacking. Rotisserie Elemental. 1 red for a creature elemental. It's a 1/1 with menace. When it deals combat damage to a player, put a skewer counter on the elemental, then you may sacrifice it. If you do, exile the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of skewer counters on the Rotisserie Elemental. You may play those cards this turn. And we'll flick through the rest. Beautiful Island. Court of Garenbrig as our art card. Yeah, when the previous season for the set started and I saw the new courts, I was like, oh boy, I've got to make some potential cards, don't I, Tim? Because I play the original courts in my Queen My Chaser Commander deck, and then I saw these, I'm like, oh no, do I have to choose? Thankfully it plays all of them quite well. Cut some of the higher end, cut some of the sort of worse enchantments I've had, and I've just put those 3 new courts in, and we'll see how they go. Got a food, we've got a foil Stab Wounds. That actually looks really nice in foil. Oh, we have a Fraying Sanity, 2 and a blue for an enchantment or a curse. Enchant player. At the beginning of each end step, enchanted player mills X cards, where X is the number of cards put into their graveyard from anywhere this turn. We have the Huntsman's Redemption, 2 and a green. It's an enchantment saga. The first chapter has you create a 3/3 green beast. The second chapter has you sacrifice a creature. If you do, search your library for a creature or basic land and reveal it and put it into your hand and shuffle. The third chapter has up to 2 target creatures each get +2/+2 and gain trample until end of turn. Oh, we have a Malevolent Witch Kite. 4 and 2 black for a creature dragon warlock. It's a 5/4 flying. When it enters the battlefield, sacrifice any number of artifacts, enchantments, and/or tokens, and draw that many cards. And we will flick through the rest of these. Nice mountain. And Dutiful Griffin as our art card. Alright, second last pack. Oh, there we go. Got a generous gift. What a nice gift. Actually, this actually answers my question of what was actually better. There's one in this set that turns it into a 1/1 mouse, I believe. This does hit any permanent, so it does include lands. 2 and a white for an instant. Destroy target permanent. It's controlled. Creates a 3/3 green elephant creature token. The fact that it's a white elephant gift is kind of funny too. Foil Verdant Outrider. We have a Ground Seal. We have a Compulsion, a Garrick's Uprising, and we have another mythic in Kellen the Fey-Blooded. 2 and a red for a legendary creature, human fairy. It's a 2/2 with double strike. Other creatures you control get +1/+0 for each aura and equipment attached to Kellen the Fey-Blooded. Or you can cast him for your, as an adventure, Birthright Boon. Search your library for an aura or equipment card, reveal it and put it into your hand, and then shuffle. And then we have our uncommons right here. Our commons and Swamp and Neva, Stalked by Nightmares as our art card. Final pack. We have a Treasure, Red Tooth Vanguard in foil. We have a Rest in Peace. This is a nice artwork. 1 and a white for enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, exile all graveyards. If a card or token we put into a graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. We have a Questing Druid. So it's a creature, human druid. So for 1 and a green, whenever you cast a spell that's white, blue, black, or red, put a +1/+1 counter on the druid. Or you can Seek the Beast as an instant. Exile the top 2 cards of your library until your next end step. You may play those cards. And then we have our uncommons. And the last of our commons. Beautiful Island. And Rowan Sign of War as our final art card. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share, favorite, and subscribe. It lets people know that I exist. And I'm mostly opening these cards just purely for my own entertainment. But if you're also entertained, feel free to give me a follow. You can find me on Facebook. Links are down below. And you can also find me on Twitter. Links are also down below. Before we go, as sort of a thank you for making it to the end of this, I have an extra pre-release code because I did 3 events. You can only redeem one of these codes. So I figured why not give them out to people who couldn't make a pre-release. I'll show you the card there and also read out the code. F4E FB E4722 A929E 26B7B DB800. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.